Today, I am sharing a true story from an anonymous storyteller. But this story is something that he really doesn't like to remember because every time he does, those eerie details and the spine-chilling events come rushing back to him. It happened about 10 years ago in April. And because of his job at that time, he always need to go on business trip for work. And there's one time his company sent him to a city in the north for 1 week because of business cooperation. His schedule was very tight during that week, so he barely had any time to go sightseeing or traveling. And most of the days, he went straight back to the hotel after work to rest. And one day during that week, after finishing his work, he checked the time. It was around 4 p.m., which is quite early, but he felt exhausted from the intense workload and the traveling, the business trip. Also, he didn't have time to have lunch at that day, so he decided to go back to the hotel, order some food, and rest early. On his way back to the hotel, he saw some local people burning joss paper and other ritual items on the street. He realized that it was April, which is the Chinese Ghost Festival, a time when people honor their ancestors. So he think this is very normal. But when he passed by a crossroad, he noticed some bowls of rice were placed in the middle of the street. All the bowls have 3 individual chopsticks stuck on the top. It was a way to offering food for the dead, named the Rice for Dead People. Because he was from the south, he wasn't familiar with these northern customs, but he figured that it was a local tradition, so he didn't really pay much attention to them. He then ordered some food delivery on the app, went back to his room, and lay down. While waiting for the food to arrive, he unconsciously fell asleep. During his half asleep, he was suddenly woken up by a knock on his door. Thinking it must be his food delivery had arrived. So he groggily got up, opened the door, and took the delivery. Then he placed the food on the table and started eating. At first, nothing seemed wrong, but as he ate, he noticed that the food that he put into his mouth literally had no taste. It was like chewing on wax. Then the food actually started smelling rotten, like rotten meat, like it had been sitting out for a long time. He was fully awake by now. Then he took a serious look, and he saw the food that the delivery was served in a porcelain bowls. This is very odd since we all know that no food delivery service will use porcelain bowls. One way, it's very easy to break during the road, and also, it's expensive for budget, right? Just he was wondering what really happened and about to check the delivery details on the app, his phone rang. He picked it up, and it was actually the delivery guy on the line, impatiently saying that, "Hey, your delivery had arrived. I called you for multiple times, and you didn't pick up. Your hotel didn't allow delivery to the rooms, so please come downstairs and pick up your order." He was very confused, glanced up at the food that he had been eating just now, then looked at his phone. The delivery app showed that his order had just arrived, but he knows that the delivery guy is still waiting downstairs. So he decided to go get his order first. He thought maybe it was a mixing up or he received a wrong delivery. When he got downstairs, the delivery guy handed him the food and also muttering some complaints, then left quickly. He checked the food he was holding. It was the spicy beef dish he had ordered, and the restaurant was also the right one. As he was confusingly walked back to his room, wondering who had delivered the food he already ate. But when he opened the door of his room, he saw a terrifying scene that he couldn't forget for the rest of his life. He saw at the table where he had been eating, there was a dark, short human figure, hunched over and silently eating the food he hadn't finished earlier. He said he doesn't know and also had never seen this person before. Overwhelmed by the huge fear, he couldn't even scream at that moment. He dropped the delivery on the ground and ran out of the hotel, spending the night at an internet cafe because he didn't have the courage to spend any time by himself alone. He stayed in the internet cafe until the next morning, then rushed back to the hotel, checked out, and calling his company saying that he had some emergencies happened, so he couldn't finish the work, then left the city quickly. The storyteller said later that he was an atheist all his life. He had never believed in such supernatural phenomena. So he buried this memory for almost 10 years because he doesn't want to recall all the horrifying details that made him questioning about his beliefs. Only now he had a new job and a different life, marry and have kids. So he decided to face his fear and sharing this bizarre experience. Okay, so this is the end of today's story. I hope you like my video. And finally, thank you for watching. Hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.